Hello, job seekers. Melanie here with CGL Recruiting. And we are on to session 8 of Interview Bootcamp. And our intention with this series is to get you prepped to get through that interview and get the job that you love. Now, remember, this is a whole series of videos. So we will save these all under a playlist on our YouTube channel. I do recommend you watch and listen to as many of these as you can, as interview is all about preparation, and the more you're prepared, the better you will be. Now, normally what we're covering is more questions that came up on the HR survey and then giving you the answers and such. Today is going to be a little bit different. Today for our topic, we're going to be covering unwanted personal distractions in interviews. And these are some things that you may not even realize that you are doing, but it is really important that you know about these and you get control of them, because no matter how great your skills and experience may be, sometimes these things can be so distracting that it gets in the way of your interviewers focusing on you and the wonderful things that you bring to the table. So we're going to take some time today to cover these. Now, remember, we have a whole other group of videos coming out with all these interview questions and other tips and tricks for you. And you can see them all. It's easiest if you subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications. It'll let you know as we release new videos. It's all free, as is everything that we're doing on our YouTube channel. In addition, we also have our live job seeker Q&A sessions where we cover topics and then give job seekers from all over the world a chance to ask us anything they want to help with their job search. Please feel free to join us. They all go through our YouTube channel, and if you do subscribe, it will notify you when those occur. All right, job seekers, let's talk about some of these unwanted personal distractions. And the first one that I do want to cover is rate of speech. Now, this is something, especially even in the US, that's very regionalized. You may have individuals from one part of the country that is different rates of speech from individuals from other parts of the country. And so when you are talking, you do need to try and make sure that you are maintaining an even rate of speech. And this is something that is very hard to judge for yourself. Even if you record yourself and play it back, you're used to hearing yourself speak at that rate. So what I recommend is you actually get an interview buddy, get a fellow job seeker, get somebody who is not around you day after day. So your spouse, your kids, your siblings, they already know your rate of speech and they're used to listening to you at that rate of speech. Ask somebody else that's a little bit further outside of that circle. And they're looking at rate of speech, not just too fast, but too slow, right? You need to get into that middle spot that is easy for everybody to understand, but doesn't leave them like this, like they're waiting for that next piece of information. Now, once that other person listens to you, ask them, do 3 or 4 interview questions with them and ask for an honest opinion. Did it seem like it was too fast or too slow? And it even can be beneficial to get this data from more than one person. So you're kind of getting an average to get to that middle. Now, if your interviews are coming across too fast, sometimes it can be because you are too rehearsed. And we see this happen sometimes with people with elevator pitches. They get used to doing it at so many different networking that they start kicking into warp speed on it. My name is Melanie and I da-da-da-da, and it's too fast. And nobody is focused on the words and data in it, but on, oh my gosh, that guy is talking so fast. So if you are one of those people that's saying something repeatedly like that, it is something that can creep in. Now, at an interview, sometimes your energy, if you're a little stressed, can make you talk very quickly. So it is something that you do need to be aware of, even if you do this pre-work. Now, on the reverse side of going too slow, a lot of times this happens because you're unprepared for the interview. And they're asking you questions that you're like, oh my gosh, I never heard that question before. What am I going to answer for that one? And you come across too slow. And interview prep will definitely help you increase that rate. It's okay to take some pauses, and it's okay to be thoughtful in your responses. You just want to be in that middle, not too far, too fast, or too slow. Okay, let's talk about our next one, which is volume. So this can be really hard to gauge when you're doing a phone interview or when you're doing a virtual interview. It's probably easier a little bit on a virtual interview, because if you come across really loud, they're gonna go, whoa, or something like that. It's not always so easy on a phone interview. It is totally okay to do a volume check. And that is after you answer the first question, say, I just want to make sure my volume is okay and that you can hear me okay. It's totally fine to do that on a phone interview. And remember, video connections are difficult sometimes. And while you think you're speaking at a very great volume, it may not be translating that way through. So it's okay to do it that way as well. Now, if you're in person and the interviewer is asking you, I'm sorry, can you repeat that? You need to consider adjusting your volume. If your volume is too low that they're asking you to repeat stuff, you might need to increase your volume. It's very rare that I get somebody interviewing for one of our roles that is too loud. Usually, if that's the case, it's over a phone or something. It's because they have a microphone like right here. Most times, it's too quiet. And sometimes what'll happen is they'll go through an interview and I can get most of the words and I miss a little bit here and there. And it's not enough to stop them 100%, but boy, I wish I would have heard everything. So if you can raise that level just a little bit, it will definitely help you and stop the interviewer from having to say, I'm sorry, can you repeat that? Okay, let's talk about overused words. And some of these are very common. Let me think about that. Let me talk. And then I went and I did. That is something that is very easy to spot even on your own. And the way to do this one, to find it, is to, of course, it can't be something that's rehearsed. Go on the internet and pull up any question. Or take any of the questions that is not one of the common ones from all of these interview boot camps that we're doing, and get your phone or recording device and record yourself answering that question off the top of your head. And if you have a problem with overused words, you're going to see it come out. You may not see it come out when you do your elevator pitch or something that's an easy answered question. But on those questions that are a little bit more difficult to answer, that's where these creep in. And so you want to be aware of when they do happen so you can stop it. If you're aware, most times you can fix it on your own pretty easy. So similar to this is unintentional sounds. And unintentional sounds are something that, again, it's easy to find if you do some kind of recording. And this can be something like making a noise with your mouth, like before you answer every question, or doing something like a big breath. Well, every time you start a question, or it can be something at the end of a question that comes across, or end of one of your answers that comes across as a sigh or some other exhale. And those tend to happen, the sighs and the things at the end of questions tend to happen more when you're asked a question and you're a little nervous and you answer everything, and at the end you're so out of breath, you're like, and take a big breath or something. And you can usually find these again if you record yourself answering something that's an uncommon question. So I do recommend you do it. But this is one that you can also catch if you have an interview buddy. And I always recommend having some different other job seekers that are in the same boat as you doing interview questions back and forth so you get that practice. It's not just for how you answer the question, it's for your ease so you're not nervous, and it's for all of these unintentional sounds that you want to make sure are being covered. Okay, let's talk a little bit about visual distractions. Now, we do have a video that is covered that is on how to do your best on video interviews. So that is already out on our YouTube channel, and that goes into a lot of depth about some of these. But I do want to make sure I cover these a little bit on Interview Bootcamp, because we do see this and it can be very distracting. It can be something such as continually doing this with your hair. And I'm not talking about once or twice. I'm talking about at the beginning of every question. It can be picking something up, like a pencil and twirling it in your fingers. It can be doing something even like taking notes. If every time they're asking you a question, you are taking notes in a pad, You're focusing them on the notes that you're taking and not on you and the great skills and experience that you bring to the table. So, job seekers, you have to try and get all of those visual distractions away. Now, I do recommend that you use your normal gestures. So, when someone's talking to you, acknowledging them with a head shake or something is fine. Utilizing your hands to talk, well, I took the data from this project and the data from this project, and we were able to mold it together to do the following. Things like that are totally okay. When we're talking about visual distractions, more than not, a visual distraction is something that is repetitive in nature. And it's so repetitive that it catches the attention again and again of the interviewer. Anytime they're focused on that, they are not focused on you, your skills, and experience. Now, we do have 2 other videos which I highly recommend on our YouTube channel. And one is, what are the things you should never say in an interview? And the other ones are the things you should never do in an interview. And both of these videos go more in depth in this topic. You've done all this work to prep to get that next job. Don't trip on the interview. Take some time, watch the videos. They will help. All right, job seekers, as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.